Welcome back. Today is Friday, January 10th. It's 11:40 a.m. Eastern Standard, and we're going to actually place a couple of trades today in our $110,000 portfolio account. So here we go. I think there's some market opportunities that I'm looking at. I actually think we're going to get a bit of a deeper correction, but I also think it's time for us to add a little bit to this portfolio. If you were with us in the last video, we are currently allocating $110,000 from cash into the market. Now, the big concern is, hey, if we dump all this money into the market right now, who's to say that the market doesn't crash or go down or fall significantly and we end up with a lot less money? And we want to make sure we avoid that. We want to look at allocating this portfolio in a reasonable manner, looking to buy some dips. This is the scenario of there's a person, let's say, that's on the sidelines right now. They've got a bunch of cash and they are saying, I want to get into the market, but I don't know when or how. Markets are always near or at all-time highs from when we look at it, and we've missed these runs. When do we actually get in? And today, I think, is a good day for us to start looking to accumulate and move things over from cash into some of these opportunities. So I'm going to show a couple of opportunities here. We're going to place a couple of trades today that I want to highlight. And yeah, let's get into it. So in terms of economic data and what we're seeing today, we've actually seen really good jobs outlook. So we had unemployment fall. We had December jobs report was really, really strong, really blowing out the estimates. And what this has actually done is instead of the market rallying on this news and saying, hey, that's great, the market's good, it's resilient, jobs are good, unemployment's low, we actually have fears of inflation picking up for next year. So the Fed is likely to pause interest rate cuts. We've seen the yield actually hit 5%, and the market's now worrying and things are selling off because they're saying, well, now inflation's ticking back up. That's not good for the market. And the market is down actually 2% today with the Nasdaq. So on the last call, we actually bought $4,000 of TLT. And if you remember the setup that we were talking about, I'm going to go ahead and open up Paint here just to draw real quick. The setup that we're currently allocating, if you weren't with us on the last call, and let's get the brush here, we've got our 100K portfolio, and then we've got 10K for portfolio, and then we've got 10K that we're looking to trade with. So with the 100K portfolio, we are looking to allocate 45% into the Nasdaq. The ticker is QQQ. 30% VTI, which is the total stock market index. 10% in gold. 10%, that's a gold index fund. TLT, the 20-year Treasury index fund. And 5% in cash. Okay. And cash. And then with the other 10,000, so since we're not doing kind of a rounded up 100K portfolio, I wanted to have another 10,000 for trading individual stocks that get beaten up and have a good opportunity for growth here. So we're going to be doing some stock picks, probably somewhere between 1 to 10 picks for $1,000 to $2,000 each. And we're going to likely make a trade today for a company I've been watching that you're all familiar with. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the charts here. And we're going to take a look at VTI, which is down 1.5% today, but still trading pretty well near the highs. And then we've got the Nasdaq, which is down. It was down 2% right before I jumped over here. And we're going to probably place a limit order to get in on this. So if we look here and we've got $100,000, we want to get about 45,000 into the Nasdaq. So I'm actually going to place about a $5,000 trade, just a small starter position, and we're going to place it. This actually was a gap fill. If you see this chart here, we gapped down here, ripped up, and we actually just filled that gap. So we're going to place a little limit order here, about 50, call it 505. We'll just get in at a pretty round number. Good till canceled order, so if it doesn't get there today, we'll get there hopefully over time. I'm going to just tab this up here, do some quick math. If we want about let's call it $7,000. And this is going to cost $5.05 a share. We want to get about 13 shares. So we're going to place 13 shares. It's about $6,500 in the Nasdaq. Now keep in mind this is a paper trading account. This is purely simulation. This is recommended picks that I am making to allocate this portfolio, but this is in a sim account. This is not real money. This is all hypotheticals, but feel free to follow along and watch. Not financial advice, just recommendations that I'm looking at as we see the market make its moves. Now, TLT is also sold off quite a bit. And if you remember, we're looking to get about 10% of the portfolio into TLT. So I would like to add another $2,000 there as well. So we're going to place just a market order here. And if we're trading right now at about 85.5, we want to get about 23 shares. We'll do a market order. It's about $2,000. We're going to add that to TLT. Gold's actually trading up pretty well today. We're going to hold off on adding to the gold position, and we're also going to wait on the Nasdaq, on the S&P, the VTI, Total Stock Market Index. So we're going to get in on the Nasdaq as soon as we tag 505, which could happen here, might actually happen after the video. But we're going to get a small position there, and then we've got our position in TLT. So assuming this triggers, we'll have about $6,500. If we jump back over to paint here, we'll have about $6,500. And then VTI, if we jump back over, TLT, if we jump back over, we've got, once that, make sure that order filled, which it did. TLT, we've got about 6,000 is what I'm seeing here. Make sure that's right. Market value 6,000, but it's down a little bit, so we'll call it about 7,000 in TLT right now. It's about 7,000. Out of what we're trying to get to is 10,000. Okay. And then this one, we're trying to get to 45,000. Okay. So we've got a little bit allocated here. We're going to continue to add to positions as things come up, as things change in the market, and as we see opportunities. But right now, we are in on the Nasdaq, or we will be shortly, and we are in on TLT. And we'll look for more opportunities. Now, I also want to take a quick trade here. We're going to do actually a small $1,500 position in AMD. I've been following AMD for some time now. Stock's pretty beaten up, and I see an opportunity for us to get in here on a nice dip. So I'm going to actually do $1,500 in AMD. Now, if we want 1,500 and it's trading right now at 115, we're getting about 13 shares of AMD. And I'm going to just place this as a market order for it to fill. So we're in on some AMD, and we are in a little bit more on TLT. And then we've also got our position in the Nasdaq that should fill at some point today. Obviously, if that doesn't fill, guys, I will let you know in the next video. We'll highlight it. We'll make sure that we get in and start allocating this portfolio, but that likely is going to fill at some point today. And Nasdaq was actually down almost a little over 2%, I want to say, earlier before I jumped on this video. So yeah, we'll continue watching, allocating this portfolio, but that is what we're doing today. I hope you found this valuable. Continue to keep watching along as we allocate this $110,000 portfolio and hope to beat the S&P. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk again in the near term. Thanks.